Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. On behalf of the Board of Education, welcome to our meeting this evening. This meeting is being recorded. The recording will be available shortly through the school website using the link to board docs. We would like you to know that if you have questions or concerns, that we strongly encourage you to utilize the Honeoye Central chain of contact. This will ensure that topics that are of importance to you are directed to the appropriate person and can be looked into in a timely and efficient manner. Before we proceed, please set your phones and devices to silent or turn them off so that we can conduct board business without disruption. Jen, is there anyone signed up for public expression this evening? There is no one signed up, so we will forego public expression. And we will move on to kudos. Does anybody have anything for kudos? Jerry?
Of course I do. Okay, the first kudo, Tori, Superintendent Fluke, and I went to the Finger Lakes Technical Center and had a tour and a very nice lunch. The place is just great. Okay, the kids love what they're doing. The students love what they're doing. They do a great job. The lunch was excellent as always, and it's eye-opening to see the things that they do there. It really is wonderful, and I recommend at least next year for as many board members as can to go there. It's it's really good, and a kudos to all the staff there and the students for showing us a great time. And then there's the play, SpongeBob. Okay. I went to both performances and even went to the elementary sneak preview. It was great. The kids, again, the students seemed to be having a wonderful time. They did a great job. The staff that helped coordinate it and put it on worked really hard, as well as all the students and the orchestra that played for them. Like Grace Wood led them as she does many times. It was wonderful. And if you didn't see it, you missed a good show. A third kudo is to everybody involved in preparing our budget. And that goes to administration, board members, staff, even students and parents, okay? We have a fairly comprehensive budget. We did it within reason. We're not raising taxes very much at all. And we're really not losing program either, which is so important. So again, a kudo to all involved. My fourth one is we have three boys basketball players uh, that were just named to New York State's All-State Boys Basketball. Brandon S. was honorable mention. Dylan W. was on the 10th team, and his brother Landon W. made first team. And the only other first team state boys basketball player Honeyoye's ever had was Ralph Angelo back in the 90s, the early 90s. So a big kudos to all three of them for doing a wonderful job, playing their hearts out. They won a sectional title for second year in a row, and we don't do that very often. They just did a fantastic job, them and their teammates, and of course their coach and the parents that support them. And last but not least, I believe today is Secretary's Day. I was reminded of that when I went into the district office and saw some beautiful flowers there. So congratulations and a big kudo to all the secretaries there. Uh, as Karen so reminded me at our last meeting too, they do a wonderful job, and without them, it'd be hard to run this district. So a big kudo to you. And that's it.
Does anybody else have anything? Megan?
I'll just piggyback off of Jerry a little bit. I went to the play over the weekend on Saturday night, and the auditorium was about three-fourths full. So it's great to see everyone come out and support all the kids on stage and behind the stage. It's just great to see there. Yet again, we're a K through 12 building, so it's great to see all the kids come together and make that play come together as well and display it to our community. Also, I want to give a kudos to a new coach this year with baseball modified. Mr. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Aman. Okay, Mr. Aman, he did great with all the boys last night with the Bloomfield Honeyway combined. He ran the book. He stayed on top of the kids. He was counting pitches. So just a shout out to him. It's a big role to undertake. So I just want to let him to know how much we appreciate it. And that's all I have.
Anybody else? No? I just have two. One to go off what Jerry said, the tour at BoCE's. Seeing people doing something that they love is very important. And our tour guide was a student from Bloomfield that I know in my personal life, but she shared the story with us that she wanted to be in the electrical trade class, and there was a wait list, which is because it's popular. But there was a wait list for that, and so they had her take the auto body class instead, and she didn't know if she was going to like it. And as a senior in high school, she already has a job full-time doing body work at a place in Canandaigua. She is so happy, and just because I do know her personally, it's interesting watching her grow up in general, and then walking in there and looking at her, and then I'm thinking, oh, she's taking cosmetology, and then she says, no, I'm taking the auto body class. And I'm like, good for you. So it's just really good to see the kids achieve and be able to use their hands. And because not all of us were blessed with book reading and being smart when it comes to maps and things such as that. So bless those kids, because they're the ones that are going to carry us through times that we need some hands on. So I'm very proud of all of our students. I believe we have 11 juniors there that were taking trade classes when we were there. So congratulations to all of them. We're extremely proud. And second, I'd like to give a kudos to the strategic design team. Working on that has probably been one of the prouder moments of my term here as a board member. Seeing the work that's going on in the background, looking at, like, we're talking about things like Portrait of a Graduate and what that means for Honeyway students and what it should mean for Honeyway students after they leave here and become community people in whatever communities they're based in. And just we get to break out into groups, and hearing the things that people think and the way that people collaborate together and the different ideas that people have. It shows that we have teachers here and staff here, administrators here, that they don't just care about the kids right now. It's after they leave here, what are we doing for the world? And like I said, it's probably some of my most proud work since I've been on the board. And I very much, again, appreciate Superintendent Fluke asking me to be on it. But the team is outstanding, and I'm looking forward to having this done in September. But I've really enjoyed the work, so I just wanted to say thank you for that. Mhm. Does anyone have anything else? All right, then we will move on to Board of Education Committee reports and updates. Looks like we have the Policy Subcommittee. I don't know if you'd like to say anything about the policy or not.
I mean, we did not meet. There's a new policy that we have to vote on. Right? We've been asked to vote on. It's about safer materials in the school, fire safety policy, making sure that the materials that we bring in are the least flammable possible. No toxicity in them in case they do light up, I guess. So they didn't really need to meet for it. It seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and the big piece is that non-authorized, which might be a little tricky for some people, but definitely for the well-being of everybody. That was a piece that to me was the most important, that piece of authorized, non-authorized materials.
Thank you both for sharing. So this was our first read of this policy. If we choose to forego a second read, I would accept a motion to approve policy 5634 if you all see fit to do so.
I'd like to make that motion that we forego the second read and
All right.
approve it tonight.
Okay. Then could I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Are there any other committee reports or updates we need to know about? Okay. Moving on to the superintendent report, I will turn the floor over to Superintendent Fluke.
Okay, thank you, Tori. We have a few highlights this evening, including a presentation from our key French exchange coordinators here to talk about their trip to France, having just returned. And we're really excited about that. But first, we'll take a look at a few activities from across the district. We are proud to share that we have once again been named 2026 Best Community for Music Education. This national recognition highlights our continued commitment to providing strong and equitable access to music education for our students. Congratulations to everyone who participated in this weekend's musical. As our board members shared, our students delivered an outstanding performance as always, and we are so grateful to the crew, the cast, the staff, the volunteers, the behind-the-scenes students that are working hard to change sets, and all of those who dedicated countless hours to make the production such a huge success. So, great job. As part of Autism Awareness Month, our students and staff participated in activities to promote kindness, inclusion, and understanding. Efforts like Light It Up Blue help reinforce our commitment to creating a welcoming and supportive environment for all learners. We also saw great student engagement through a school-wide rock, paper, scissors challenge that happened today, and tomorrow there's a continued championship going on, but I was able to see it in action today during middle school lunch. This simple activity created excitement, laughter, encouraged positive peer interaction, staff participation, and helped just build a strong sense of community across grade levels. So just what a fun activity. Our food service team celebrates National Banana Week by offering a fun, healthy option in the cafeteria. These small initiatives help promote nutrition awareness while making school meals enjoyable for students. Tomorrow, there's a banana treat happening in the cafeteria. Students are currently participating in a Lego wall competition with an Earth Day theme, giving them an opportunity to express creativity while also learning about environmental responsibility. There's lots going on in the building this month. Our library team continues to promote a love of reading through programs like Blind Date with a Book. We talked about that earlier in the month, encouraging students to explore new titles and share their feedback. We also want to recognize some recent athletic accomplishments. Our modified tennis team competed in their first match of the season, and our boys lacrosse team earned an impressive 17-6 win over Newark. Last week, as Tori and Jerry mentioned, we had a great visit to the Wayne Finger Lakes Technical and Career Center, touring the campus, seeing students in action, the hands-on learning available to them. I'd like to echo what Jerry said. If you haven't had an opportunity to get out to see the programs, they are outstanding. I went for the first time last year as former elementary principal. I hadn't gone out to see those programs. It blew my mind. It's amazing. So again, if you get a chance, maybe next year we'll take a ride out. And lastly, the Honeoye PTA has partnered with Goodwill on a shoe recycling drive. Any type of footwear, including sneakers, sandals, boots, slippers, water shoes, and more, can be dropped off and placed in the Goodwill bins in the foyer outside of the auditorium. And these between April 22nd, so it actually started today, goes through May 21st, so almost a whole month. The efforts will support our new playground build. The bin is already half full, and it's only been one day, by the way. So pretty cool. And thank you to our PTA. And now I'm excited to welcome Miss Penny Hensler and Mr. Carter Bunce to the podium. Yes. Awesome.
This is the second time. And we're gonna pass around some treats. This is some caramel, and then there's a cookie that they love as Madeleines, and then there's some crepe.
Want me to be in charge of this?
Oh, yeah, did you drink this thing?
Yep.
Okay. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Start. So we started our journey on Wednesday, March 25th. This is the second half of the journey in October of 25. So last October, 30 French students.
Yep, very nice. Well, yeah,
39 French students and 3 French teachers came to stay in Honeoye for a period of 2 weeks. 20 or 25-ish stayed with us, 20-ish stayed with us.
Yep.
The others stayed with families and a teacher from HFL. And so we returned the trip with 25 Honeoye students, plus the 2 of us, and 16 HFL students, plus 2 teachers from HFL.
It's our first time that we partner with HFL too. Okay, yep, that's our t-shirts.
So the t-shirts were designed by Brie G, a student, and the color was chosen by a group of students, highlighting the friendship between the 2 schools. After a long day of travel in train, buses and planes, we first stopped in a city on the right there. It's called Chartres. It's on the way between Paris and Rennes because we had to take some time before the school day was done for France because they don't get out till 6 p.m. So we had to stall. So it's nice to be able to stall in a city that has a 1,000-year-old cathedral that's on the UNESCO World Heritage Site, with stained glass windows that are original. Yeah.
Yeah, it's known in the world as some of the most beautiful stained glass windows. And this was Marley's first time here. All right,
This is what the kids all care about.
okay, Marley, what's this?
This is the school in Rennes, and we met our French students outside of the school. And some of them had posters for their kids, lots of hugs, lots of tears. And it was our first time meeting our French parents. And it was just a nice reunion.
Mhm. And there's your sister right at the top.
Yeah.
So, and this is, we went, so every day the kids, they go home with the families and then they come back. However, the students come to school. So I don't know, how did you come to school?
We walked.
You walked, okay. So some people had to take the subway, some took public transportation, some got dropped off. And they would come to school in the, everyone would go to school in the morning. And then our sister school had organized activities for us throughout the day. And on this day, our first, so it was Friday, we went to the Mont Saint Michel, which is an abbey. And then after that, we went to the amazing Chateau de Fougères, which is a medieval castle, and it's one of the best preserved medieval castles in Europe. And the kids got to go inside it and climb up on it. And what's your impression of that?
The first time we went here, so 2 years ago, I actually didn't know how to get inside of the castle. So I missed this part, but this time it was definitely worth stopping at.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Over the weekend, so there's students with their host families went out and did a variety of things. I remember hearing a lot went to like different sporting events, local sporting events, handball and soccer and basketball, and just were treated like royalty for the weekend in terms of going and seeing and having good food and all of that good stuff. We met back together on Monday, and we went to Saint Malo, which is a walled city, about an hour north of Rennes, that was 80% destroyed during World War II by the US because the Germans had taken it as headquarters based on its location. Because if you look out into the sea and look really, really far, you can see it's the English Channel and you can see England-ish, kind of, they say. And it's famous for being, because of its location, It's famous for being a city that is controlled by corsairs, which is a privateer. So a pirate employed by the king who is telling people, these are the rules, go out, ransack these boats, come back. You can keep 10%, I get the rest. So the home that we were in and our tour guides, significant others, family, are the original owners of the house in which we were in. So they had a lot of original artifacts, some chests of drawers to open and things like
Well,
that.
try to open. but
Try
they
to
were
open.
secret. And then how many floors do you remember? I wanted to remember that because it's kind of
59 rooms, I remember.
59 rooms. It's and
Yeah.
the amount of floors because they're hidden. Yeah, the kids went down the basement. You could see where they would hide their
The loot,
the loot. Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Like back door, hidden passageways where they would have their deals, because you don't want to, it was a time where you didn't do like your business deals in public. So you like covertly looked like it was part of the wall, go up the stairs and do it privately so that you weren't conducting business out in the open. Other than that, our students helped the French economy quite a
Yep,
bit.
they did. And so it's a wall.
Specifically with any sort of pastry.
Food. Yeah,
Jelly cats, which I learned about for the first time.
me too. I had never heard of them. Yeah.
Stuffies with eyeballs and other things like that. Anything they could possibly buy, it was bought.
And it's a walled city, so they were kind of stuck in the wall. So they could, it was low tide, so they could walk out to the, what'd you guys do?
Yeah, many went out for lunch on the tidal islands, which were
Mhm.
open. But you just have to get back in where you have to pay a really, really, really high fine.
Because they have to come
Because
rescue
they have to
you,
come
yeah.
rescue you.
So did you go out to the island, Marley, or not?
We did go out. We just went on a quick hike because it was really windy and I was scared we were gonna all fall down. But most of the time, definitely ate. I think we went to 4 different restaurants.
Food, very
Yeah.
important, yeah.
And then shopping.
This is my favorite day.
Tuesday. This was
Tuesday, because we went to the Normandy beaches. So we started at the top left is the American Cemetery in Colville. From there, we went to the Overlord Museum, which is just right around the corner from the American Cemetery. In the past, we've been able to go to Pointe Oak, which is like a German camp or former German fort. But they had issues with like landslides and
They'd had a
not
lot of
being
rain.
100% safe, so we didn't go there. Instead, we went to the, and this was the first time for everybody except for at the bottom right is the German cemetery in Normandy. Especially to show the students the difference in the just the overall vibes of the two different cemeteries. Whereas in the American cemetery, everything's white, everything's in a straight line, it's very pristine and orderly.
Mhm.
Not that the German cemetery wasn't, but all of the stones were black and they were in the ground.
Very dark.
Just a different, dark, sort of more somber than the American one. And then we got to go for a pretty nice walk on Omaha Beach, where the bus dropped us off, and then we were able to walk along the beach. Some people ran, some hacky sacked their way along the beach to ultimately where
The monument.
famous monument is, where the.
I'm not sure if I put that in there.
stuff
Did I put
was.
that in? I forgot to put that one. That picture that on the right is taken right in front of it, yeah, steps.
And the Overlord or the American Cemetery also has a really nice, but not huge museum connected to it. So that bottom right picture is the American Cemetery Museum that goes along with the cemetery itself. And one of the students from HFL had a family member, so we were able to see the name of the family member
On the wall.
on
yeah.
the wall.
So then we want to talk about the potluck dinner?
Yeah. So I believe it was maybe Wednesday night. We all went back to the school and had a potluck dinner. The students from the first exchange actually came back to visit. I think there were 8 that came. And so it was nice for all of us to reunite. And then there were French families, teachers, and all the families donated something. And so we had dinner there. I know some kids went and played basketball. They had lawn games outside, pool, foosball, pretty much anything anyone could think of, karaoke. lots of fun stuff.
A lot of traditional like Breton food
Foods,
and also
yep.
traditional Breton like yard games,
Yeah.
things like that.
So it was in there, they have an activity rec room kind of in the school, and it's one of the biggest high schools in France. So it has an area that has like pool tables and foosball tables, and that's where we had it. So. And the students had a great time coming back, the ones who had been here before. All right, and then this was Wednesday. They have a half day of school. And so we just had a tour of Ren, which I could see it a million times. I lived there when I was in college, so I lived there for 10 months. It feels like going home some ways, but so some of the things that we saw, there's the opera on the top, and then on the bottom right is City Hall, and they kind of form, the opera comes out and the City Hall comes in, so they look like they're a puzzle piece, so it goes together. And it's a big square, and then the bottom middle is the courthouse, and that burned down, when was it? I can't remember, in the 2000s, right? Right?
A protest.
Yeah, during a protest, some fell on the roof and burned.
Flares.
Yeah, well, flares, that's what it was, yeah. And then the cathedral, and then the kids took the bus. We had to take the bus downtown from the high school, so.
These are more pictures from Ren. Ren is famous for the half timbered houses that you can see. Most of them are also leaning, and that was on purpose, we learned, because it's a way of draining rainwater off without having to use pipes and things like that. We were taken by, you can see that just her back, and Sophie is a French math teacher from France who lives right in downtown Rennes, like downtown, who I stayed with last time, so she was an expert.
And cobblestone everywhere. That's what we walked on.
What's not in here, though, is we had a nice visit at the Franco-American
Yes.
Institute.
No, I didn't.
And I met him for the first time, but
Me
his
too,
name
yeah.
is Eric Beatty.
Oh, Eric
He's the
Beatty.
former chair of the Rochester Wren Sister Committee, and so he's the one who kind of coordinates. So it was cool to see they have one whole wall of their offices, all like pictures of downtown Rochester and pictures of the University of Rochester and things like that. But it's a Franco-American Institute, so they do programming for Americans in Rennes, but also English language learners in Rennes. They have a whole library that is English library, and they do various expositions and things like that. So it was cool to be able to interact with them, and they had snacks for the kids.
And they're
we're very
basically,
happy for them.
and talk about careers too, that the
Careers.
kids could have with,
That would bring them back to France.
to bring them back, yeah. They were encouraging them to look more into it, so. Okay, Nantes. This is Marley's first time, Nantes. So it's also about an hour away, but an hour south instead of going up to the English Channel. So what was your impression of Nantes?
It was really cool. My French host mom actually worked there, so during the week she didn't live at home with us. She had an apartment in the city, and so our ongoing joke was that I was going to bump into her. But we got a nice tour of the city. There was definitely some unique areas. I remember there was a butcher shop, and outside were statues of animals with wigs on because there was a wig shop right next door. And it's focused on mainly arts and culture, which you can see because every block has some sort of statue or connection. And we went on a tour of, I believe it was another castle, and we learned the history of that. And then I ended up at a carnival for part of the day because we were walking around and there was a carnival. And
And there was a statue of Anne de Bretagne, who was Queen of Brittany, right? Yeah. Am I right? Yes, Queen of Brittany, who was pregnant how many times?
way too many.
It was like in the 20s, I think. And I don't think one child survived. Yes.
This city and the city that we were in Rennes have like a rivalry, a healthy rivalry with sports, but also France like redrew lines, and Nantes was left out of Brittany, and they were put into their own region called Pays de la Loire. So there's like animosity, sort of like regional rivalry between the two.
They
People
said not to
from-
wear your Ren
yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah.
people from Ren don't think Nantes is in Brittany, but people from Nantes think that they are in Brittany,
Mhm.
so it's a,
And if they were, they'd be bigger than Ren, so.
so Ren doesn't want them to be big. Then we had to say goodbye to Ren, because on Friday, we were off to Paris via the train.
Yep, and for many
With a
students, it
lot
was
of
their
fun.
first train. Okay. This was not our favorite, but it took an hour and a half versus 4.5 hours. And we only had one day in Paris, so we had to make the most of it. So the train, it was. And it's the bullet train, so it's a really fast train. It doesn't make any stops. Like it just went right straight there, but yeah.
This is the hard part because it's full of a lot of tears.
Yeah.
And we have to get on the train because it's not waiting for us.
No.
It leaves at 7:35 regardless if we are ready. Most of them, I don't think were ready, but physically we had to get on the train. So I think Madame did a really good job of getting everybody and their host family who got up super, super early on this Friday to see us off.
I did. And that's Marley up in the top right. Is that your, who's with, I can't, is that your pen pal?
Yeah, my
Yep.
pen pal and her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paris. We got lucky because we had a really, really great tour guide who met us
Awesome.
off the train and coordinated everything for us until we got off the bus at the hotel.
Yep.
Well, we got on the bus
Yeah,
to go
that's
to the
right.
hotel at 9 PM. So we did everything we possibly could between 9:30 AM and 9:30 PM.
We
in
were,
Paris.
every major thing that we could, we did.
So we stopped at first, the bus driver was kind enough to let us off for at least, I think it was like 10 or 15 minutes
Mhm.
at the Eiffel Tower. It was better to see it this time because last time we went, it was full of scaffolding for the Olympics because they were putting up the beach volleyball arena right in front of it. And so they had a lot of scaffolding up. Then from there, where'd you go?
Okay, I did not put Sacre Coeur on there. I just realized
Then
that.
we went to Sacre Coeur, which is
Yes.
the big white
I know,
basilica
but
at
then-
the top of the hill. And most kids went inside.
Yeah,
This-
they did.
They didn't have to, but they did because they wanted to see it. And they did some souvenir shopping along the way.
Mhm.
And then no, it's at the
Notre
bottom-
Dame.
Bottom left, Notre Dame Cathedral. It was open. Last time we went, it was still under construction. So we waited in line, but it went pretty quickly because it was also happened to be Good Friday, so it was very busy.
And only one Friday a month, they take the crown of thorns out. And because it was Good Friday,
The bottom right.
they took it out. So the kids got to see the Jesus's crown of thorns. So they thought that was really neat. And the top boys, those everywhere we went, they lit candles for. Look at how like serious they are. Like every time they're not serious boys either. But they were every time they lit those candles, it was like they were. Yeah, it's I mean, I've seen Notre Dame 9 times. This is so clean and so just because, the rebuilding it, and it was just beautiful. And then we touched the top right-hand spot where all the kilometers in France are measured from there. And if you touch that, it means you're going back. So.
And then this is prior to Notre Dame. This is in front of City Hall in Paris. And then the two pictures on the right are what happens when Honey Oil students see the street performer with bubbles.
Well, everyone was reacting like that with
They're
bubbles.
into
Who doesn't like bubbles?
Not
Yeah.
upperclassmen in high school have some fun with bubbles, which is good.
Okay, they were running all over.
They are still kids.
It was fun.
And then we were able to go the Bateau Mouche, which is the river cruise on the Seine, which was a good chance to kind of relax a little bit, but also see all of the sites that you could. Last time we went, it was canceled because of flooding. So we were able to see the Louvre and Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower and famous bridges in Paris from a different vantage
Go
point.
right underneath them. So that's
Yeah.
kind of neat.
And then we ended the night.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. Okay, just that one.
That top left picture, that one is.
Yes.
We went up to the top of the Arc de Triomphe, which has great views of the entire, because it's the middle of, there's 12 avenues that encircle the Arc de Triomphe. So in any direction, you can see most of Paris, but specifically at 9 PM, because we waited for a very
know,
long
actually-
time, but we were not going anywhere.
No, they were
At
not.
9 PM, the Eiffel Tower sparkles during this time of year when it's dark. And so we got a spot on the edge and purposefully spread out and used our elbows and made sure that we had a good view of ultimately the Eiffel Tower sparkling at 9 p.m.
And they have amazing
Amazing
videos.
photos
Yeah,
and videos.
pictures.
Yep. And then we had to come home.
Then we had to come home. So the kids were wonderful. The weather was wonderful. We were very proud of the kids. It was, and a lot of them had really spoken French with the families and it's pretty amazing. So, so our next plan would be that they would be coming back October 2027 and staying with families in Honeyway and HFL. And then we would be going back in March or April, whatever. I think that year Easter's very late, so probably more April 2028. And we definitely plan to keep going with HFL. So, we started this in 2004 and,
She says she
Okay.
started this in 2004.
Anyway.
She started.
no, but families, like
Yeah,
we couldn't do
yeah.
it without families, literally,
Yeah.
it's, I always say I never have ever had problem finding homes where Gananda would send people back. HFL literally sent people back. They couldn't find Honeyway people just, they always make room. Will never forget that, how just welcoming Honeyway families are. That's very special. You don't find that everywhere, so. Okay, and just thank you to everyone who made this trip possible because I firmly believe that it changes lives and they make connections that last forever. And if nothing else, it just makes them want to discover a little bit more of the world. I don't, do we have your quote in here?
We have just some testimonial quotes from the students that you can peruse. There's one.
Yeah, we have a student who wants to now study abroad in France in college.
Couple others.
Some work on longer, but the sparkling Eiffel Tower was one of the favorite memories. I love this. My host girl also had a party at her house supervised, which was very fun because I got to sing and dance with all the Frenchies and hang out with all my friends. They made friends with HFL kids too, so it was, just pretty amazing. I don't know. I was just very proud, we say that, of our students, how
Yes.
they interacted. They're always polite. They
Embraced French culture,
Embraced
embraced
it.
traveling,
tried new
the
things.
stresses of traveling. You couldn't really.
No, and even when they were exhausted, because we all were, it was never an issue. Yeah. Is there anything there from you? Both times my
Is that
friends
you?
were amazing. Oh, yeah. Okay, so
with your
now only did I
French
immerse
assistant.
myself in the culture.
We had what, 8 or 10 returners?
Yeah. The second
So
time.
Okay.
they were well seasoned with travel and the train and.
Yeah,
what the
they were
expectations
helpful, they were
were.
very helpful.
Yeah.
And so one thing we did want to say is that this exchange, we feel allows more kids to go because our trip was $2,000. And just to compare that, HFL is going to Europe next year for 5,000. And Ganand is going to France next year for 4,500. So those I think would be not doable. I could never ask families to pay $5,000. So it's the exchange that helps us do that we can offer, because we don't have to pay for housing or food when we're there, because families pay for them when they're here, and it just allows us to do this, so.
I think the students prefer being with the family.
Yeah,
They like Paris, but they never talk about Paris after
No.
the fact. They talk about the time that they were in Rennes or what they did on the weekend with their families.
You
Right?
agree
Because
with
it
that?
seems
Yeah.
simple that you went to school for the day, you came home, you had dinner and you hung out. But that's where the relationships are made. I heard from a family in the community who they already have the French family that their students stayed with has already extended the invitation for them to travel when they are free and available, and that they have a place to stay in France.
for the families.
For the family, the
Nice.
entire family. The other thing too, I think from a teacher perspective, we've built relationships with the French teachers who have lived with us, or we lived with them and their families, and
Mhm.
we were able to go and see other teachers that are no longer hosting or don't even work at that school anymore,
Right.
but who Penny had was
Yeah.
hosted by Penny and
Mm.
hosted. So just being able to build those connections too, you get that through an exchange as opposed to staying in a hotel for 10 days straight. And I think that's what leads to the tears, just because you have a home in a different country and you know that you are safe and loved and welcomed there. So like, why would you want to leave type of thing? And the same thing happens when those kids come to Honeoye.
Yes.
They are loved, they are cared for, they get the American teenager experience, and they also cry when they leave. So it's reciprocal in terms of the amount of emotion that it brings. This wasn't originally in here, but I added it
Yeah, okay.
because we need to thank Madame, because she goes crazy in the work that she does. First, to organize 10 packed days for them when they get here, where they're going all over the place and coordinating field trips and busing and lunch and all of that. And she's responsible for all the planning with the tour agency for controls of our flights and things anytime we're outside of Rennes. And it started with her in 2004, and we want to keep it going for the rest of her time here, plus.
Yeah.
Plus. Because she's dedicated her entire life to teaching French. And when kids leave this building, one of the things that they remember is that woman right there. So,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Doesn't take much for me, but it's true. It's Madame. That's all they talk about is Madame. And her legacy is the French program and this exchange. So special for her, and it's because of her. She doesn't like the attention, but I'm gonna give it to her. It's her. But thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
This is a really unique opportunity for Honeoye students. To go once is life-changing. To go twice is even more phenomenal. So
I think they have even more courage to go
Mhm.
other places.
and that's all we can ask for,
Yeah.
is that they use this to go out and see the world and use what they've learned in Honeoye and take it to other places, because we know if they do that, then we're gonna be A-okay.
I'd like to just say, first of all, wow, like what an outstanding, beautiful, authentic experience that you all had and that you're providing for our students. It was meaningful, mixed with fun and learning, and great job tonight. Thank you both, and Madame, truly, thank you. I'm getting the chills listening to you and seeing this, and thank you all. So let's give them a round of applause. Does anyone have any questions for them? Jerry?
Well, I did take ninth graders a long time ago. I took two, and that was, yeah, they're a little too homesick. Yeah, I think. I don't know if he was necessarily homesick, but maybe, yeah, no. I took Tyler years ago. Yeah, no, it's just 10th grade seems to work out pretty well. So. Ninth grade, a little bit young to go that far.
Very good. Great job. Thank you. All right. And Marley is up next for our Student Board of Ed slides.
Okay. So this Friday, the seniors leave for the senior trip. We're all very excited, even though it's a simple trip. And I've heard from people from other schools who are like, why do you want to go to Erie, Pennsylvania? We all just know that we're gonna have fun together, and our grade anyone at the school really does a good job just enjoying what we have and making the most of it and bonding. And so everyone's very excited for this. And then as of today, the rock, paper, scissors contest started. Now that he's left, Mr. Bunce did not let anyone rock, paper, scissors with him because he didn't want to lose his beads. But tomorrow at lunch will be the final competition, and anyone with beads remaining will, I guess, just keep going until there's one winner left. And then the prom committee met again today and are meeting every Wednesday until prom. And so far, we have an ice cream truck for our dessert, which will let each student attending get a free ice cream and as many toppings as they want, and a DJ. And then our theme is Dusk and Daisies to match with like the barn venue that we're at and the decorations they provide, which is hopefully going to allow us to have a pretty cost-effective night. Track last night had their senior night at their home meet in Bloomfield. I believe they all did very good. I saw some pictures. It was definitely a night I wish I had made it to, but I was at the lacrosse game where they won 17-6, and it was a very good game. They dealt with a lot of it was a tough team, but they did very well. And then Masterminds, I believe next week has their finals competition, which this is the first year in a few that we've made it this far into the season. And then Youth to Youth is currently planning the HCS Bake Off, where teachers can donate their time and bake to sell to cookies to fundraise for the Day of Caring next year. And then that's all. There were no student concerns or suggestions this week, so
All right.
perfect.
Thank you very much. All right, and moving on to updates. The strategic design team met, as Tori mentioned, last week to finalize definitions for our Honeoye Portrait of a Graduate, and is now working to share updates with stakeholder groups, gather final feedback, and begin developing a visual layout for the plan. So here you see some of the work. If you look at the left-hand column, the portrait of a graduate characteristics: academically prepared, creative innovator, critical thinker. I'm going to go to the next slide and then come back. Effective communicator, global citizen, and reflective and future focused. You will see those do match the New York State Portrait of a Graduate characteristics as well. Back over to the first slide. In the middle column, you'll see the definitions. These are the Honeoye Elementary student definitions. So K-5 students are going to be expected to demonstrate skills, as you see in that middle column, and then to the far right, the secondary definitions and/or skills. So this is what we've been working on. This came directly out of the larger group, the Superintendent's Conference Day, where all of our teacher and TA stakeholder groups were participated in creating these definitions, and then taken back to the smaller team for refinement. And again, we're working now to get our visual together there. All right, after months of research and piloting programs, we talked about the district selecting the Core Knowledge Language Arts, or CKLA, as our new literacy curriculum. Staff members visited a neighboring district on April 20th to observe the program in action as we prepare for implementation next year. Next, let's take a look at our elementary social emotional learning survey results. Students were asked a series of questions related to their sense of belonging, safety, relationships, engagement at school. You can see all the questions here, and these included whether they liked coming to school, felt safe, feel like they belong, know how to be a good friend, have friends at school, and whether there is at least one adult who cares about them. Of the 220 students surveyed, 99 reported feeling connected to at least one trusted adult, which we know is one of the most important protective factors for student well-being. Additionally, 98% of students reported knowing how to be a good friend, 97% reported having friends at school, and over 90% reported feeling safe in school. Following the survey, our next steps focused on direct follow-up and support for students who indicated areas of concern. So individuals met with those students. A huge thank you to our school social worker, Molly Perrin, for leading this work, and to our student support team and Deputy Jacobs for their thoughtful follow-through. This is also happening at the secondary level, and I will share results with you at that point as well. As discussed last time, our PA clock system installation is underway, taking place at this time during evening shifts. Each year, the Board of Ed selects a member to serve on the Graduates of Distinction Committee. The committee will convene in May to review the selection process and procedures first, and then we will meet again to review all of our applicants. Tonight, I ask that the board select one member to serve as its representative. One more quick update. The next milestone to our playground build is the pre-construction meeting, as discussed last time, when coordinators, committee members, and prospective crew leaders will meet here at school with Play by Design. We'll review plans, roles, and the construction process. The meeting is scheduled for May 19th. The meeting where anybody can come, committee members, anybody who wants to be a part of the build, is from 3 to 4. So there's smaller meetings throughout the day with our coordinators. Jerry, for example, is our chairperson for the Food and Beverage Committee. So he would be our coordinator. He would be meeting directly with Play by Design. He's been doing an outstanding job, by the way. I think almost all of our breakfast, lunch, and dinners are covered, or at least there's a plan for it anyway. So great job to Jerry and his committee. So again, those meetings that start at noon will be for the chair people, myself, and the coordinators. And then the 3 to 4 meeting would be open for anybody who wants more information. All right, and at this time, I will turn it over to our business official, Derek Belize. Oh, did you want, yes. Sorry.
I've never been part of the Graduates of Distinction Committee. I would do it if there's nobody else that is interested, but I don't know if Karen or Megan, Sandy, Jerry or Jermaine would be interested. No? They said it's all me.
You can take it, Tori.
Yeah? You okay with that, everybody? Okay,
Okay, I'll be in touch.
okay, thank you.
So for updates, as Superintendent Fluke mentioned, the PA clock started this week. Right now, they're just pulling cable. The clocks will be shifted over the summer, but they're trying to get into spots that may not be accessible as the rest of the construction begins. Other than that, it's boring behind the scenes work. Last week, we had a meeting with the contractors. They provided what they refer to as their milestone schedule, and we met with online and in person, trying to layer over everybody's milestone schedule, going through any type of issues that they may see, such as not being able to access areas because there's other construction in the area. So contractors had an opportunity to express any concerns with the milestone schedule, which leads us to have to tweak it a little bit. Our GC Iverson will finalize that in the near future, and then we'll publicize that. But last week we had a meeting to try to problem solve some of those issues. In regards to the budget newsletter is with the designer. All the information is there. Our board candidates had until Monday to let us know if they were running for the board, and everything's good to go. In years past, the district used to send a second budget postcard. It's like a half sheet of paper, but that is actually a portion that's in our budget newsletter. So this year, to be fiscally responsible, because there is cost to produce and mail that, we are going to forego the postcard because it is duplicate information. That information is in the budget newsletter. So families and community will receive that information. It's just seemed to be more cost effective. There is still no update on the New York State budget. From what I'm hearing, they're still battling over policies and has yet to talk about dollars. The extenders are no longer a week. They are shorter periods, which gives you a little bit of optimism that there may be a budget in the near future, although I wouldn't hold my breath. In addition to that, there was a new bill introduced to delay the implementation of electric buses for 5 more years. There was a legislation to completely abolish it in March, but that went down pretty unanimously almost. So this new bill, a lot of the school districts are hoping, because there's a new article coming out of Canandaigua in regards of the electric bus. 2 of them showed up and neither of them turned on. So we're hoping to hear a little bit more update on electric buses, possibly in the state budget.
All set then. Okay. All right, then we will move on with the consent agenda. We have the minutes I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from April 8th, 2026 and the CSE minutes.
I'll move.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. We have the treasurer report from March of 2026. I need a motion to accept.
I'll move.
A second?
I'll too.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Moving on to personnel, we have reduction. I am looking for a motion to approve the reduction.
I'll move.
A second? Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Appointments. I'm looking for a motion to approve the 4 appointments: athletic director, 25-26 unpaid assistant, social studies teacher, an English teacher, and an English teacher. Looking for a motion to approve those.
I'll move.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. New business, old business. We have election of the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES board members and the administrative budget vote. So do we need to take each one individually then? Okay. I don't know if anybody would like to discuss. There are 4 candidates and 3 positions open. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions. I know that I do, but I'm welcome to hear what anybody else has to say if you have any. Okay. You want to talk?
Doesn't matter.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I do. I'm gonna say who
Sure.
Okay. In regards, like I know Linda from legislative, so I would choose Linda, Philip Rose, and Deborah Korsner. If I was able to vote.
And I would agree with those. Linda does an outstanding job. I've met her through the legislative committee as well. She does a very good job. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add?
I had Phil and Deborah. I didn't know the last person.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So then, is everybody in agreement of the 3 that have been mentioned? And then I'll just go through and ask for a motion on each one? In a second? Okay. All right, so I would be looking for a motion for Philip Rose to make him our vote for the vacancy.
I'll move.
All right, in a second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. And then I'm looking for a motion for Deborah Korsner from the Seneca Falls School District.
I'll move.
A second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, carried. And then we have Linda Agner from North Rose Wolcott, and I would be looking for a motion for her.
I'll move.
And a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, carried. And then we have the administrative budget vote. And I'm looking for a motion for that. So just so everyone's clear, it is to approve the 2026 tentative administrative vote of the Wayne Finger Lakes Board of Cooperative Educational Services in the amount of $4,285,332. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is also carried. Moving on to invoices. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that okay with everybody to take those all together?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right, so we have the Tamco Management Group, an SWBR invoice, and 6 LMC Industrial Contractors invoices for applications 1 through 6. I would be looking for a motion to approve all of those.
I'll move.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 6 from LMC were quite lengthy, and to tell you the truth, a layperson, it's hard for them to make much sense out of it. Okay, I'm not quite sure why we were presented with such lengthy documents, but just one of them was 35 pages. So just a point of view.
That is true, Jerry. Is there any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Moving on to a contract. It would be for Pittsford Central School, HAC, a motion to approve.
I'll move.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. And then we have the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES Cooperative Bidding Program. This is an annual thing that we do. So I am looking for a motion to approve the cooperative bid for BOCES. A second?
I'll move.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Then we have the capital improvement project. We have an invoice for that from SWBR. And I would be looking for a motion to approve. A second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is carried. Then we have comments from the Board of Education. Does anybody have anything for that?
I just have the past legislative meeting. It was kind of just a review of everything that's been talked about. And kind of moving forward, we just talked about trying to get other associations on board with advocacy of efforts to change the EV bus mandate. And like interviewing, like possibly making a video with bus drivers, like to emphasize their concerns because they're on the forefront and know what's going on more than we do. So that was just an idea, and that's all I have.
Oh, wait, I do have a comment. I was approached by someone who wanted to know what exactly is happening with our choral program, okay? And Natalie was nice enough to get back to us and explain it. But I don't think the community at large knows what's really happening with it. It's changed, and some of it is for the better, but a lot of people just don't understand, including staff members. So maybe we could get some information out to the community saying how it's changed and the reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so there is the 4-county annual meeting on May 13th at 5:30 at Club 86. Megan and I had talked and we would both like to go to that. It is my understanding that it is a free of charge event. I don't know if anybody else would like to go. But if it's all right with everybody being free of charge, Megan and I would like to go. And if Jen could sign us up, and if anybody else wants to go, you could just let Jen know and we can add you in because there is no charge. So technically the board does not need to approve it. But I just wanted to make sure if anybody else wanted to join us, that you had the option to do so. And then just a reminder that we have evaluations starting now that it's the end of the year. So the first one is going to begin on the 27th of this month. I will be sending out a link so that you can either do the printed copy, so you can print it out and handwrite everything in, or you can go in and there's a link where you can just type in all your information and then print it out. Just so you know. So I'll send them out separately so there's no confusion as to which one is which, but I will be sending those out shortly. So just keep an eye out for those. So that's all that I have. Nobody else has anything else? Do we have any reason? Oh, there's information for the board under that. And then do we have any reason to go into executive?
No.
All right.
No reason. I did want to just remind everybody, on May 6th, so our very next board meeting, our TAMCO
yeah.
representatives will be here to showcase and discuss the timeline for moving forward. So that's going to be a good meeting. Hopefully, we will have that kind of a tentative timeline laid out for us at our very next meeting.
That will be good to see. It's been a long 5 years. All right, if we have no reason to go into executive, then I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
In a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.